Stop that Gears of War music because that's coming up much later on in the video. But today, folks, the first episode of what will be a regular series every Friday, the gaming catch-up on stories I could have made individual videos about, but not worth my time. Just get them together in one big arena, and I'm going to break down what I'm really excited about regarding video games, hopefully coming out this year. And yes, don't worry folks, it's still Big Titty Friday.
Watch this space.
He's fearless, scaleless, a little too careless.
Right?
So to kick things off on that part place, Nintendo legend Masahiro Sakurai pushes back against Western gaming trends, claims Japanese developers should avoid appealing to Western tastes, which is often very bland these days. If you think about Japanese pop culture, a lot of it was influenced by what America, and to a lesser extent, what Britain brought out back in the days when entertainment used to be so goddamn good. So, Japanese gaming icon Sakurai, creator of Super Smash Bros. And Kirby, has made headlines for his sharp insight on the state of the gaming industry and the Western trends currently dragging it down. Of course, I've been talking about it forever on my channel, as well as other YouTubers. I'm not the only one, remember folks. Sakurai was recently honored with Japan's prestigious Art Encouragement Prize from the Agency for Cultural Affairs, recognizing his outstanding contributions to the gaming industry through his Masahiro Sakurai on Creating Games YouTube channel, which I didn't know existed. Following this achievement, Sakurai participated in an interview with NTAX, where he addressed a growing trend plaguing the gaming world: the prioritization of Western gaming tastes over authentic homegrown creativity, because I guess the communistic ideal of the West is to push down what the Japanese and other people in that region of the world want to give to people like you and me. And we should have that freedom, right folks? Not censorship from the West, and I hate the West anyway for that very same reason. Sakurai stressed that Japanese developers should focus on making games with domestic appeal, rather than chasing what they believe Western audiences want, because remember folks, the modern audience does not exist. He plainly stated, "I think Japanese people should keep pursuing the things that make Japanese people like." This simple yet powerful statement carries major weight in today's climate, where many developers, both in Japan and in the West, are bending over backwards to take it up the pooper shooter just to accommodate Western sensibilities, often at the cost of creativity and uniqueness. And if you thought that was cringe, folks, wait until you see the next story that follows up, not from this one, but the next article, because you're gonna sit there and think, oh my god, has Japan lost their minds? I know it's the week of Assassin's Creed Shadows being released and causing mayhem and murder everywhere, but oh my god, this is getting absolutely ridiculous. And speaking of all things Assassin's Creed Shadows, that's our next article. Ubisoft deploys legal team and government help, more like reinforcement, to silence Assassin's Creed Shadows critics and combat development in parenthesis harassment. Listen, I need to talk about that very quickly because this is bullshit. Remember Ingram Moses when she played Reva in Star Wars Obi-Wan, and she was citing racial harassment behind the scenes because of her obviously DEI casting? she didn't bring any proof to the table. It was all hearsay. And then, of course, Ewan McGregor got involved by driving in his car, like the Madness song, telling people that if you're being racially abusive towards my co-star, then you're no better than her or me. Which is bullshit because nobody was doing that anyway. Everybody had a collective groan because they knew exactly why she was cast in the first place. Her character was dog shit, she's dog shit, and ooh, I just want to wash that taste out of my mouth. Awful, just awful. But back to the article, folks. According to an anonymous Ubisoft employee speaking with the French outlet BFMTV, Ubisoft has put in place a sweeping anti-online harassment plan ahead of the game's release. This includes, wait for it folks, because this gets so much more ridiculous, dedicated teams monitoring platforms like X, YouTube, Reddit, and others. Ubisoft reportedly has lawyers already lined up. Oh, do they really? Prepared to file complaints against those they believe are crossing the line. The company has even gone as far as advising developers not to disclose their employment on social media to avoid becoming targets. Ubisoft, can you just come closer, please? That's right, just a little bit closer, a little bit more, because yes, you are in fact Ubisoft, a gigantic pair of tits. Now Ubisoft, you're premeditating bad behavior. Why? Because now you're going to encourage simpletons out there to make a rage bait video targeting someone or some people's details. These are the folks who worked on AC Shadows. Let's go and harass them. And that is your cue, your ticket to ride, to quote the Beatles, to go after them. Where are your resources coming from? What government backing from Canada, because yes, it's all Canada's fault, folks, are going to help you with this ridiculous crusade? Because once one person starts it, it's going to be a domino effect. Everybody's going to get involved. Of course, if you're aware of the Mac Dizzle gaming drama with Smash JT, how Mac Dizzle pretended to be an employee at Ubisoft just to get Smash JT to call it an exclusive story break on his channel, he's now propagated that by making it worse for people who work at Ubisoft. So I think this is just all chit chat, blah, blah, blah. Because again, folks, as a Brit in Britain, if I'm going to talk bad about Ubisoft, and I often have, are they going to send the men in black to knock on my door? But then you know what, Ubisoft, if you want to get my full cooperation, just send a couple of buxom Caucasian beauties to my door with their cleavage partially showing, and I'll tell them everything I know. Of course, that's never going to happen, is it? Because do people really have that much time in the world to go and harass people who they're confusing critique with harassment? Again, if you look at YouTube's policy, it's all about transformative content. It's about commentary. It's about critique. It's not about hate speech. You can sneak those things in, but if you're critiquing something, you'll have a dislike for it, but would you necessarily have a hatred for it? It depends. So it's a bit of a fine line, and I don't think Ubisoft even know at this point in time if they're actually smelling their own farts. But moving on, folks, because this is going to become a very long video if I keep carrying on. But Forza Horizon 5, I love the Forza series. I think 3 is probably my favorite, but 4 set in the UK and is intertwining seasonal changes are just beautiful. But I've said it once and I've said it again on a previous video, but I've got to say Forza Horizon Motorsport is more my favorite kind of jam. And when I want to relax and not play a beat 'em up and I just want to chill, I love to dip into these games. I'm glad I did not sell these games off. I was thinking about it a few weeks ago, and I don't want to be in that situation again where I then have to go out and reacquire the games again. So, and I've got a pretty rare Forza Horizon game as well from America, which is really, really cool. So just a breakdown for you folks, if you're not aware, this spring, Forza Horizon 5 is coming to PlayStation 5. with an enhancement for the PS5 Pro Edition, which I think is pretty awesome. So Playground Games are not just the only people involved with this. Hopefully this article will actually cover that. The Horizon Festival welcomes a new team of players, and why I hate that C word, by the way, with nearly 900 cars available in the game, over 40 thematic game updates, 2 expansions, and a partridge in a pear tree, and so much more. Our team is excited to announce that this spring, PlayStation 5 players will be able to explore Mexico's beautiful roads and experience the Horizon Festival for the first time, as we are officially launching Forza Horizon 5 on the PS5. So from Adam Ishmael at thedrive.com, what else are we going to expect? Enhanced graphics for the PS5 Pro, which I've already mentioned. About a month ago, we learned that once the unthinkable will soon be a reality, Forza Horizon finally being released on PlayStation. And one thing that Adam does actually highlight here, which I thought was pretty good, is that you don't have to pay to get certain add-ons. You'll be rewarded for those in the game anyways. But of course now, folks, got to talk about something that's dear to my heart, which of course is Jill Valentine and her massive boobies, because Resident Evil 9. Is that happening? Is it not happening? Is she teaming up with Leon Kennedy? Because the last time we saw those two together was in Resident Evil Death Island, which was a fantastic movie, and I can't stop watching it. It's so awesome. But what do we know about it so far? So, according to this rumor set by Dusk Golem, who is a renowned leaker of news, and he goes under the guise of Aesthetic Gamer, well, he made a post in January saying there's a screenshot of something I said that will probably float around, I predict. So gonna say it, Jill Valentine doesn't play any major role in RE9. This current hospital rumor floating around is 100% bullshit, crushing the Jill hopium now before wrong expectations are set. And what I've heard about this, what I know so far, is that, yeah, the hospital setting for RE9 sounds great. Why not? We haven't had it in the previous entries. But the fact that she's such a fan favorite and they keep reusing Leon Kennedy again really does piss me off, actually. Like, what have they got against Jill? One of the other things I've also heard is that they are removing puzzle-based stuff, which I think is good. I find some of the puzzles annoying. I just want to plow through a game and destroy zombie shit. But apparently, the rumor has it that Capcom are not just only reinvigorating this entry in the Resident Evil series, but they're trying out new things, which I think is commendable. I mean, why not? If you want to evolve rather than go in the opposite direction, then do new things. And if the fans don't like it, well, you go back to basics. But hopefully it still means that we see the character in third person, because the first person aspect in a Resident Evil game makes no sense to me whatsoever. Now, Silent Hill F, which stands for FU when you see this article, has a disclaimer. It has two, in fact. One is, if you feel uncomfortable at any point while playing, please take a break. Konami warns that things are about to get quite grim. Konami yesterday, well, when was yesterday? That was on March the 15th. So this is a few days old, folks. Pulled back on Silent Hill F, a full fat third-person horror game. Are you body shaming here, guys? Come on. And its gnarly content warning is making even the horror buff who wrote this article worried, shaking at the seams. Silent Hill F takes the series' foggy setting and contorted limb monsters to a rural 1960s Japanese village this time, putting us in the shoes of teenager Shimizu Hinako. And the game's website goes to great lengths to remind us that some things were very different back then, which is very interesting. I'm going to show you that in a minute, folks, because when I saw this, I thought, oh my god, holy shit, look at this. So the ESRB rating has 0 chill, face is ripped apart, a character burned alive inside a cage, and entrails and sinew displayed on serving platters. Are you kidding me? Wow, this just sounds like a day at McDonald's. But let's get back to this, folks. And let's go to the official Konami website. So this is the teenager in question who you're playing as, and yes, she's in the 60s garb as a schoolgirl back then. But yeah, we got the non-horrific images so far, folks, so you don't have to worry about that too much. And I think eventually they'll be leaked out or they'll be officially on display. Now here's yeah, this is a strange thing to put. Please read before playing. Don't you mean, Konami? Before buying? This game contains depictions of gender discrimination, child, and that word, not going to say the rest, bullying, drug-induced hallucinations, torture, and graphic violence. This game is set in Japan in the 1960s and contains depictions based on the customs and culture of that time. These depictions do not reflect the opinions or values of the developers or any individuals involved. If you feel uncomfortable at any point while playing, please take a break from playing or speak to someone you trust. Or they probably don't want to face backlash if people buy this game and suddenly find themselves being freaked out. So I don't know. It's going to be problematic though for YouTubers who want to stream this, because if it's really grotesque and disgusting and has certain depictions of gender that might go against the YouTube terms and conditions, how's that going to play out, right? So I wonder if there's going to be a censor mode on the game so you can bypass some of those. But folks, I thought I'd say the best for last, and no, it's not Anya Stroud from Gears of War in a different alternate uniform which I created for this video, but it's about the Gears of War collection, the Marcus Phoenix collection, as the so-called mythical name goes for this particular supposed collection releasing this year. But we'll get into this, folks, because this is rather groovy. After what's been years and years of rumor and speculation, we might just have our strongest evidence of a Gears of War remaster collection. Well-known Xboxer and leaker Xtas has posted a new video. Well, this did post a new video that breaks down a bunch of stuff going on over at Microsoft right now. I can talk about the Gears collection because it has cost me a lot to corroborate its existence, but it seems that it exists, and I can confirm that at the moment in which Gears collection is announced, which I don't even know will also be announced as a multi-platform on day one. We had some sad news as well this year, folks, because Peter Jason, the voice behind Dizzy, passed away. Such a shame. Love that character. We first saw him in Gears of War 2, so rest in peace, dude. He lived a long time as well. And below him, Carlos Fierro and John DiMaggio, who play Dom and Marcus Phoenix respectively. They have just posted that they're back to do new dialogue, which I cannot wait. Carlos Fierro is a very nice guy, by the way. Always replies to my tweets and obviously to everybody else's, but I can't wait to see these two back in the fold. In case you're unaware, folks, Gears of War E-Day is a prequel story, hopefully the start of a brand new trilogy, which I cannot wait for. Lester Spate even teased the fact that Coltrane might also be returning. Again, Coltrane, if you don't know the Gears of War story, before he became a Delta Squad member, was a thrashball star. And in Gears of War 3, you actually see a really cool flashback regarding his time as a big superstar in the stadiums. So I definitely think 100% that Coltrane is coming back, and he's such a great character anyway. So I cannot wait. It's going to be awesome. But one thing that was interesting regarding how it's being developed, is it a remaster? What I've actually heard is that it's actually the first 3 games are being remade from the ground up using Unreal Engine 5.3. So if that's the case, that's awesome. Also on this video here from Shadows, whose videos I actually discovered when I was looking up gear stuff years ago. screenshot here that he captured says that there was meant to be a collection from Saber International, but because Saber is a Russian-based company, which again makes you wonder how come Space Marine 2 did so well, there's going to be a conflict of political interest, shall we say. So they've had to forfeit that and go by another means. But I really do hope that we're going to get an announcement at the Xbox Summer Showcase this June. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, with a bonus feature in today's video: Mortal Kombat 2, the movie. Not Annihilation, although we'll be talking about that in a few seconds. Nope, the new sequel is ramping up production, and thanks to Entertainment Weekly, we've got some stills of the brand new characters who are making their debuts for the first time. And I will say, Johnny Cage, Carl Urban, I wouldn't really necessarily think of him as being Johnny, because the character as portrayed by Lyndon Ashby in the 1995 Mortal Kombat is actually who I thought Johnny Cage should look like. But wait until we see a trailer, you never know. Could surprise me. It's Carl Urban being an absolute wise ass, so I might be surprised. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, folks. But here's the bone of contention. So as you scroll on down, now this is Katana. And the actress who plays her is way, way hotter. If you don't believe me, check this picture out. That's her there in the Sabrina TV show on Netflix. I'm definitely giving that a watch now, if you know what I mean. But she looks way, way smoking hot there. And in that photo right here. But for some reason, they've made her look like a man. And they've covered up her titties as well, which is just, oh my God, come on. Let's have some semblance of cleavage here. Warner Brothers, I'm pretty sure, Warner Brothers, of course, their new mandate now is to actually cover up women as opposed to uncovering them. So thanks, WB. So again, when I talk about, and I did mention Annihilation, Mortal Kombat, the much maligned, much roasted sequel, honestly, this is a masterpiece compared to what we might see in this train wreck called MK2. Honestly, I mean, with this film, at least you have sexy hot women duking it out, and Talisa Soto as Katana, she did a good job, and she actually showed off probably a bit more flesh than Adeline Rudolph right here, which is such a shame.
Mother's dead. As soon will be her daughter. Yeah! Yeah!
I think it's a good idea to do a nice games roundup of the week for things I wouldn't cover as individual videos, because I think it gets a bit more eyes to the prize right here. And if you enjoyed what I did today, folks, make sure you leave a like below. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, and make sure you just punch that like button till it goes out of fashion, and it's going to be lights out otherwise, folks. And if you were me, and if I were you, you should definitely return for the next video. And yes, I'm high on Japanese coffee.